Hey guys, mahal everyone, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, bringing you guys a video on Pokemon Masters. So this game just had a massive explosion of news as of last night. I was alerted to this news while playing City Opera Omnia, my main mobile game, by one of my Discord members who goes by the name of Sailor Queen. So thank you, Sailor Queen. Shoutouts to you for bringing this information to me. But we finally have a release date. This game is going to be released on August 29th. So it's finally there. There is the release date that we've all been waiting for. To top it off, there is going to be a pre-registration for this game for both iOS and Android. I will be leaving the links to those pre-registration links in the video description as well as a pinned comment. So if you are a Pokemon fan and you want to try out this brand new adventure, this brand new way to battle with this Pokemon mobile game, Pokemon Masters, be sure to pre-register for it. There is going to be a soft release for the game, which is essentially we can already play the game. However, it is only going to be available in Singapore, and then later on it's going to be available in Canada. The Singapore version is actually going to be available very soon on July 25th, which is right now for me, it's July 24th. So that's less than a day away from now for me. So there is going to be a soft release. And if you do happen to play the soft release, anything that you progress within the soft release will be carried over to the actual real version of the game. So that's pretty cool. So to those of you that have access to the soft release, congratulations, you guys can already start playing the game. But what I'm going to be doing is the Pokemon Masters YouTube channel actually also shared about 6 videos in regards to the gameplay, giving us everything we need to know about the game. So in this part of the video, I'm actually going to be condensing that information for you guys, so then that way you'll have this information on hand. Now, I do encourage you guys to check out the official Pokemon Masters YouTube channel and check out the videos there. I'll also be leaving the link to their playlist to all those videos, so then that way you guys have the videos for those as well if you want to learn more about this game. But we're going to go ahead and kick things off talking about a little bit of the game overview here. So we already know that sync pairs is kind of like the gimmick or the mechanic that's going to be focused on Pokemon Masters. Essentially, you get to play as the trainer, and then you're going to have your favorite Pokemon with you, battling alongside you. There's going to be something called the Pokemon Masters League, which is going to be everybody's goal. In order to qualify for that league, you're going to be having to do some stuff like gym battles, earning badges. So they brought in that, essentially that portion from the core Pokemon games, which is pretty cool because, you know, there's got to be a way to get into the league, right? And then afterwards, the one thing that I want to highlight here is going to be the sync pair training. So sync pair training is going to be allowing you to enhance your Pokemon and make them grow faster, which is pretty cool that they put this function in there because it's very reminiscent or very similar to how the core Pokemon games work. So you do your sync pair training, you do a bunch of daily missions, and when you do those daily missions, you get rewards. You also make your team of sync pairs even stronger. So very, very good that we actually have these dailies. This is actually a common mechanic that's in RPG style mobile games. So it's really cool that Pokemon Masters have this. And as you can see right there on this slide, you are rewarded for completing all the missions with, it looks like that's the currency, which is going to be gems, the purchasable currency, or the currency that you can also earn by playing through the game. Now we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the moves and the battle basics. So remember, this game is going to be in real-time battles. So everything is happening in real time when you're playing through Pokemon Masters, essentially through the battles. And then you're going to have something called a move gauge. So this is going to be what is going to be filling over time. So as soon as it fills up, it allows you to be able to use your moves. And I believe each move uses a specific amount of the move gauge. So it looks like we have up to 4 bars there. So maybe like certain moves cost 1, certain moves cost 2, with like the super moves or the more powerful moves costing like 3 or 4. So it makes sense. And then something about the move gauge too is that all 3 of your sync pairs that you're controlling share that gauge. So being very strategic about when to use specific moves is definitely going to be key in being successful when doing the battles for Pokemon Masters. Now you also will be having trainer moves, and this is something that they discussed when they were kind of hyping us about this game. And trainers essentially function as like your support. They help you in battle. They unleash particular abilities to either increase your stats or tip the scale in your team's favor with unique moves. So that is pretty cool right there. And trainer moves are limited, so you want to be careful and you want to be wise about using them. So you want to time them correctly, so then that way you're not just using them unnecessarily necessarily. So definitely a lot of strategy that's going to be involved there. So another thing that they're going to be having is, of course, the sync moves. The animations for this look very, very similar to Z moves that they released for 7th gen Pokemon, but essentially this is like your ultimate super move that happens. You, the trainer, and the Pokemon work together to unleash these special moves. Now, sync moves are activated once your team performs a certain number of actions, so that's something that you want to keep in mind, especially if you're going to be coordinating sync moves with your party of 3 sync pairs. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the Pokemon battling. So right now there are 2 different modes, which is kind of interesting, and we'll get to that. So first of all, there's single player. So you could choose to battle with your team as single player or in co-op. You're going to be taking control of all 3 sync pairs if you're going to be doing single player. With single player, you also want to be aware of type matchups. So just like how in Pokemon, you know, water is weak to grass, grass is weak to fire, all that stuff, it's going to be applied to this game, which makes sense because this is all about Pokemon battling with Pokemon Masters. So be sure to take advantage of type matchups when editing your team before entering a battle. Now, as far as co-op goes, you're going to be working together with your friends or your allies that you choose to play with. Each person that is doing co-op is going to be taking control of their own sync pair. So this is going to be a lot of fun to be able to play with your friends, essentially work together in playing against the AI, especially for like maybe the harder events or harder quests that we're going to be running into with Pokemon Masters. Now, something interesting is that we don't see any hint of PvP where we could actually play against our friends and things like that. I think it's interesting that they didn't put PvP in this game, but I also think at the same time, since this is a mobile game and there is, you know, currency that we could purchase to essentially enhance our gameplay and speed things up, I think having PvP being missing from this game right now is good, so then it kind of prevents the whole pay-to-win type of strategy, which a whole lot of mobile games have. I have my fair share of experience with PvP-only mobile games, and it does get really frustrating when you do go up against, you know, a big spender in the game, and you're not spending that much, and you have a distinct disadvantage just because, you know, they have all of their characters maxed out just because they keep buying. Now, hopefully, eventually, they will put PvP, but if they do put PvP, I highly think that it should be friendly PvP. There's no rank, no rewards. It's just optional PvP, so then that way there will be some sort of an option for that later on in the future. So hopefully they consider that, but right now I'm glad that it's not in here just because of the fact that it could create a really pay-to-win situation, which for the most part, most mobile games, that tends to ruin the fun. But anyways, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the sync pairs. So each sync pair has a specific type. When you actually start out the game, your sync pair Pokemon is going to be Pikachu. Hopefully we can change that we could actually change our favorite Pokemon to not just Pikachu, but something else. But each pair will specialize in 1 or 2 different move types. So similar to how a Pokemon has either 1 type or they can be dual type, and they can learn up to 4 total moves, which again is the same thing as playing the core games. Each Pokemon can learn up to 4 moves. There's also going to be something called roles. Now, roles is something different that is separate from like the elements or like different typings of Pokemon. So each sync pair specializes in 1 of 3 battle roles. The first one is going to be the strike role. So this is going to be like your DPS role, your damage dealing unit. They specialize in strictly attacking and dealing as much damage as possible. The next role that we have is going to be support. They specialize in having high HP and buffing allies. So this is going to be very useful. It seems like they kind of mixed like a tank. They mix it in with like a tank and supporting at the same time, which is pretty cool. And then afterwards, the last role, the third role, is going to be tech. So they're going to be the ones specializing in inflicting status conditions and also debuffing opponents. So with these 3 roles in mind, you want to make sure that you're synergizing your party correctly, especially when you're choosing them for specific battles, or if you're aware of what the opposing team has, so then that way you'll be pretty successful in battle. And then something I do want to mention is that with sync pairs, synergy is very important. So in one of their videos on the official Pokemon Masters YouTube channel, they showed a strategy where, like, for example, Gary or Blue, Blue, he looks like it's essentially Gary, is the attacker, and then afterwards they had Rosa and Maylene as the support. So they showed that Rosa and Maylene essentially boosted Blue, and then Blue unleashed like a really powerful move that attacked all of the opposing Pokemon on the other side. So think of it that way, that you could synergize characters that way. There's going to be endless possibilities, it seems, as far as syncing up and creating synergy with the correct sync pairs that we're going to be having available in Pokemon Masters. Next thing I want to talk about is the training. So in order to level up your sync pairs, it's simple. You win battles and you gain experience and you level up. And as we know, leveling up is going to be increasing your stats. Pretty basic, and I like how they kept it simple as far as that. You can also use unlock items to increase your sync pair's level cap. So it looks like a sync pair will start off at like a specific level, and then afterwards you can use these items to boost their level cap, so then that way you can further increase their level. So that's pretty cool that they added this feature here. And then afterwards you can also use training machines to learn new moves, so that is pretty cool. So TMs are going to be here, and it looks like they're going to be items to allow us to learn some new moves for our sync pairs. And then there's also Pokemon evolution. So there seems to be different ways that you can evolve your Pokemon. The first one is reaching a certain level to unlock Pokemon evolution. So for example, Bulbasaur gets up to level 16 and he can now turn into Ivysaur. So it looks like they have that function there. Another way you can evolve your Pokemon is completing a special sync pair story. So that's pretty interesting, that if you do a special story for that particular Pokemon, you can evolve them. And then another thing to know about evolution is that when you reach a Pokemon's final evolution, you are able to learn an awesome new sync move, which is essentially, like we talked about earlier, your super moves. Next thing we're going to talk about with training is learning passive skills. So for example, in the core Pokemon games, we have you know, our natures, and our natures kind of tell us, like, you know, what these Pokemon, you know, specialize in, and then afterwards they have like certain things about their natures that influence their stats and stuff. Well, it looks like with passives, it's kind of similar to that. So what I saw in one of the videos is that one of the different passive skills they can learn is like endure. So like it looks, so they can like essentially prevent themselves from getting KO'd if they get hit with a really powerful attack. So that's what passive skills are all about, and definitely going to be very helpful. And it looks like you could learn multiple passive skills and they just activate in battle. Now, as far as scouting for sync pairs, so scouting is going to be the way that we pull or we summon for our trainers and Pokemon. If you pull a duplicate, so let's say, for example, in this screenshot right here, Whitney and Miltank. So if we pull another Whitney and Miltank, that allows them to level up their sync move. So it allows them to level up their super move. So it looks like you can go all the way up to level 5. So that is what your duplicates that you pull are going to be used for. So just like with other mobile games that I've played, duplicates do help out as far as being able to increase the potential and the power of whatever it is that you're using. And then afterwards, there is a way to increase potential. This is very similar to, let's say, like EV training, or like, you know, using those items like HP up or protein in the core Pokemon games. But essentially what it does is it increases the sync pairs base stats, and increasing their base stats or pushing them beyond their limits increases their number of stars, which is essentially, I'm assuming this is like the rarity of the sync pair. And the more stars that you earn, the higher your maximum level will be. And every single sync pair can turn into a 5-star. I'm assuming that's going to be the highest rarity. So that's going to be really cool to see that even if, let's say, you pull a base 2-star sync pair, you can get them up all the way to 5-star because you can use those items to increase their potential and increase their capabilities in being able to perform. So I know that was a lot of information. Again, if you guys want the actual video footage from where I got these slides from, be sure to check it out in the official Pokemon Masters YouTube channel. They have a whole playlist explaining everything in detail about what I just talked about. Another thing that I do want to bring up is the prices for the in-game currency. So it seems pretty fair, as you can see right there on the screen. It looks like they have a monthly deal, which is pretty cool if you decide to spend on this game. And then they have like these one-time deals where you could get a certain amount of gems for essentially like a discounted price. So that's going to be the prices right there if you decide to actually spend on the game. Or if you just want to stay free to play, you can definitely just start earning the currency just by playing through the game, which is probably, I'm gonna probably try to stay as free to play as possible. I'm not sure yet on this game because of the fact that there's no PvP. I think that it is more free to play friendly as far as being a pay to win game, but who knows? Once they add if they decide to add PvP, I'm hoping that it's going to be like a friendly style PvP or something like that. But anyways, guys, I know, a lot of information to cover, but I'm super excited for this game. I hope you guys share the same excitement that I do because I love Pokemon. I grew up with this franchise since I was a kid, since Pokemon Red and Blue. So let's bring the hype in for Pokemon Masters coming out August 29th. Once again, this is 40 the Broadway Saiyan. Stay tuned for my next video, and mahal, everyone.